My name is Isabella Carter, and I never believed grief could turn into humiliation until the day we buried my grandmother. The cemetery was still heavy with silence when the lawyer cleared his throat and said something that shattered my world. There was no will. At that moment, my Uncle Victor smiled in a way that made my stomach twist, like he had been waiting his entire life to hear those words. He leaned toward me just enough so no one else could hear and whispered, "You were never meant to inherit anything, Isabella." My cousin Daniel chuckled beside him, already talking about luxury cars as if the family legacy had become his personal prize. I stood frozen, my hands shaking, not because of the money, but because of the way they looked at me, like I didn't matter, like I had never mattered at all. Before we continue, if you enjoy emotional stories about justice, betrayal, and hidden truth, make sure to like this video and subscribe, because stories like this remind us that truth always finds its way back to the surface. The day of the funeral felt endless. Gray clouds hung low over the city, pressing down on everything like a heavy weight. Raindrops fell steadily, soaking through my coat, but I didn't move. My grandmother had been the only person who believed in me, the only one who told me I was capable of greatness. She taught me everything: how to read financial reports, how to manage contracts, how to recognize dishonesty before it destroyed something valuable. To everyone else in the family, I was quiet, reserved, forgettable. But to her, I was the future of everything she had built. After the burial, we gathered at the office of her longtime attorney. The room smelled of old wood and polished leather, and every second that passed made my heart beat louder. I kept remembering the promises she made to me. "One day, Isabella, you will lead this company with honor." Those words had lived inside me for years, guiding every decision I made. But now, as the lawyer confirmed there was no will, those promises felt like smoke slipping through my fingers. Victor wasted no time stepping into power. Within days, he took control of the company headquarters, announcing himself as the new leader as if he had earned it. Employees who once respected me avoided eye contact, afraid to stand too close to someone who had suddenly lost everything. During a boardroom meeting, Victor publicly declared that I would no longer hold any position within the company. His voice echoed across the room as he said, "This is a business, not a charity. Isabella has no place here anymore." Laughter followed from people eager to stay in his good favor. In that moment, I felt humiliation burn deeper than grief. 3 nights later, when exhaustion finally forced me to sit alone in my apartment, a sudden knock echoed against my door. It was nearly midnight, and I wasn't expecting anyone. My heart pounded as I slowly opened it, only to find my Aunt Alina standing there, soaked from the rain, her expression filled with fear and urgency. Without saying a word, she stepped inside and pulled a sealed envelope from her coat. Her hands trembled as she pressed it into mine. "Your grandmother gave this to me. She told me to deliver it if something ever went wrong." My breath caught as I stared at the wax seal. Something inside me told me this envelope held more than paper. It held answers. After my aunt left, I sat at my kitchen table, unable to look away from it. Hours passed before I finally gathered enough courage to break the seal. Inside was a letter written in my grandmother's handwriting. The sight of it alone made tears blur my vision. The first line changed everything. "Isabella, if you are reading this, it means they tried to take what belongs to you." Behind the letter were legal documents, certified, signed, undeniable. They proved that years earlier, my grandmother had legally transferred majority ownership of the company into a protected trust under my name. My uncle knew nothing about it. He believed the company belonged to him because he never imagined she trusted me enough to secure the future without his involvement. Reading those pages felt like breathing for the first time after drowning. Days later, Victor called for a grand celebration at the company headquarters, announcing Daniel as the future successor. The building was filled with guests, laughter, and confidence built on lies. But this time, I didn't arrive empty-handed. I walked into that room holding the documents that carried my grandmother's final decision. Conversations fell silent the moment I stepped forward. "Before you celebrate," I said clearly, my voice steady despite the storm inside me, "there's something everyone here needs to see." Gasps filled the room as I placed the documents on the table. Victor's confidence faded as he read the first page. His hands trembled. The lawyer confirmed what the papers clearly stated. The company legally belonged to me, not him, not Daniel, me. The silence that followed was louder than any argument. In the weeks that followed, legal proceedings exposed years of manipulation and hidden actions. The truth spread quickly, and the people who once dismissed me began to treat me with respect they had never shown before. Eventually, the court confirmed my rightful ownership, restoring everything my grandmother intended for me. Standing alone in the company lobby weeks later, I looked up at her portrait hanging on the wall. Her eyes, captured forever in that photograph, seemed filled with quiet pride. In that moment, I realized something powerful. Victory wasn't about revenge. It was about protecting the legacy built with honesty. And if you've stayed with me until this moment, I want to ask you something. Have you ever been underestimated or treated unfairly? If so, share your story in the comments because your voice matters more than you think. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe because sometimes the greatest victories come from the people no one expects to win.